Disney called me saying my 6-year-old was alone, and my ex acted like it was no big deal. My 6-year-old son, Carter, went to Disney with my ex-wife, her new husband, Paul, and her parents. I was in Chicago for work when my phone rang with a Florida number. A woman said, "This is Disney Guest Services. Your child is here with us." My heart dropped. I asked what happened, and she said Carter was sitting at Lost and Found. He told them his family said, "Wait by the Mad Tea Party while we go get fast passes." That was 4 hours ago. 4 hours. She said he kept walking up to cast members asking where his mom went, and he started crying when no one came back. I asked if he was hurt. She said no, but he's scared and keeps asking for me. I told her, "Please don't let him out of your sight," and I called my ex right away. She answered like I was bothering her. I said, "Where's Carter?" She said, "He's fine. We're at the Grand Floridian pool." I heard splashing and people laughing. Her voice sounded thick, like she'd been drinking. I said, "You left him alone in the park?" She sighed and said, "Relax, James. Disney is safe. He'll figure it out." Then she added, "This is an adults-only vacation." I said, "He's not a bag you can leave behind. He's 6. She said Paul wanted to do grown-up rides without a kid slowing them down, and Carter can handle a few hours. She actually said, "It builds character." My hands started shaking. I said, "A 6-year-old can't just wait for hours. He doesn't even know who to trust." She snapped, "Stop being dramatic," and hung up. I called back. Voicemail. I called Paul. No answer. I stared at my hotel room ceiling, then opened the airline app. Every flight to Orlando was booked until early morning. My suitcase was still on the floor, untouched. I called Disney back and asked what they needed from me. They said they could keep Carter at their family services center, but they needed proof I was his parent, and emergency contacts on file. They asked for our custody paperwork and his full information. My fingers fumbled the screen while I dug through emails and photos of documents. Then the staff member said, "Do you want to talk to him?" 1 second later I heard, "Dad?" His voice was small. He said, "They told me to wait." I waited a lot. I couldn't find them. I swallowed hard and kept my voice calm. I said, "You did the right thing. Stay with the helpers. I'm coming." He whispered, "Are they mad at me?" I said, "No, buddy. You're not in trouble." Then he said, "I'm hungry," and my chest felt tight. The staff told me they gave him water and snacks, and he was holding his little park map with both hands. While I was still on the call, I remembered my ex's social media. Just last month, she posted about doing Disney without kids, with fancy drinks and captions about no stress. She even joked in comments about leaving Carter with the grandparents so she and Paul could do the fun stuff. So I started taking screenshots, posts, dates, and check-ins at bars during park hours. I emailed them to my lawyer with a short message and went back to the phone. Disney security came on and asked what my ex said when I called her. I repeated it, including the adults-only part. The security officer said they were contacting the sheriff because a child left alone that long isn't treated like a simple mix-up. He asked which hotel they were at. I said, "Grand Floridian." A few minutes later, my phone rang again. This time it was an officer. He asked where I was, how old Carter was, and if I had been told to leave him there. I said no, I was out of state, and I was trying to get to Florida as fast as I could. The officer said, "We're at the pool with the adults now. Stay available." I could hear muffled voices behind him. Then my ex saying, "He's fine, he's safe. You're overreacting." Paul cut in saying, "Kids need independence." The officer's tone got hard. He said, "You don't leave a 6-year-old alone in a theme park for hours." There was a pause. Then my ex started crying and asking if she could just go get him. The officer said, "Not like this. Not after 4 hours." I sat in the airport before dawn, staring at the gate sign and replaying Carter's little dad in my head. As soon as my plane landed after sunrise, I went straight to Disney's Family Services Center. A cast member walked me down a quiet hallway. Carter was at a small table with Mickey-shaped pancakes and a juice box. He looked up, froze for half a second, then ran so fast his shoes squeaked. He slammed into me and wrapped his arms around my neck like he was scared I'd disappear. I held him and said, I'm here," and he didn't stop shaking for a minute. A staff member slid paperwork in front of me and I signed with a shaky pen. A deputy standing nearby said my ex and Paul were being taken in for questioning because leaving a child alone that long can be a crime here. I nodded, lifted Carter onto my hip, and carried him out while he pressed his face into my shoulder. Now my family is saying I went too far calling security. Was I wrong?